Hello everyone, welcome to Ocarina of Time Randomizer Seed Generator. This is just a little bonus episode before the main episode. If you don't want to see what's going to be randomized in this, and you just want to be surprised as it happens, then I greatly recommend skipping this video and just going straight to part 1. That said, let's get into it. So, a randomizer, for those who don't know, and I'll probably explain again in part 1, but it's pretty much what it says on the tin. You take a ROM of a game or whatever. Like, I'm pretty sure the Resident Evil HD Remaster randomizer just uses the official game. Ocarina of Time randomizer and many other like Zelda randomizers and things take a ROM and patch it so that any sort of crazy thing can happen within reason. And the way they do that is by randomizing certain things, most commonly item placement. You never know where you're going to get items. Some of them will randomize monsters. This one doesn't, although I do look forward to that maybe someday being a thing. Again, within reason. There are certain rooms that I think should probably stay the way they are. But, you know, this is a very robust randomizer I'm finding. And the 4.0 version just released yesterday. In fact, I was Recording Quest for Glory, I had to stop recording all of a sudden before the day was up. And what I found was like 2 or 3 minutes after I stopped recording, this generator 4.0 dropped finally. And it was something I had hoped to get to yesterday. Wound up doing Quest for Glory instead. I actually did previously create a seed and started it. I believe the video probably opened with a little footage of that seed because I quite liked the music that I had gotten in there, and I'm a little bit bummed out that I can't play with that now because I want these new settings. So let's go over them. Let's see what we got. So this is the first page. Wait. Is there anything in the changelog I want to? No. I think we'll go over all that. So the first thing we're going to look at is just ROM options. You can create a spoiler log. I believe what the spoiler log does is it creates a log file which tells you where everything is. So if it gets really bad, you can look back at that and go, okay, here's that thing I missed. I wish to avoid that at all costs. I don't want to spoil this for myself, but it is nice to have the nuclear option should I need it. World count? I don't know what that is. And it intrigues me. Like, maybe if you finish the game, it just starts a new one? Or maybe you can go back and forth between multiple Ocarina worlds and check multiple of the same chest or something. I don't know. This is quite frankly a terrifying option to not know anything about. I'm just going to leave it at 1 for this run. Maybe it'll be a lot more fun with 2, but everything in my mind tells me it's just going to make it way more complicated if I turn that up. You have various presets here. You have beginner's mode, hell mode, various tournaments and things. They give you a weekly one. You can import your settings if you have your settings. Unfortunately, here it clearly does not work with my old settings, so I can't just put those in and change the new things. And you can, of course, if you see somebody else's game and you want to play that specific game and you have the seed for it, throw that in here. Now here's what we're really here for. All the different rules and logic and whatnot. So, oh my god, this one set everything to on. We have open forest. In open forest, you can leave the forest and go to the Deku tree from the outset of the game. The problem here is that shuffles, as it says, the Kokiri sword and the slingshot out into the world at large, so there is no guarantee that you will have convenient access to the sword at the beginning of the game. You may spend a large part of the game wandering around looking for a sword. Now what this really means is that you're pretty much going to be relying on Deku sticks to get you through. Not the worst thing, they do more damage, but then you have to keep buying them. And this is a thing that sounds like a huge pain in the ass, and I should just turn this off. Because chances are I could wind up going a large part of the game with only Deku sticks to my name, at least as Child Link, and that could become a huge pain in the ass very fast. I hadn't thought about that before. I would really like to have the Kokiri sword, but at the same time, I think it would be fun to try and find it out there in the wild. I do want to spend some time without a sword. In fact, what kind of bums me out is just that the Deku sticks even exist. I want to find the sword out in the wild, but in a reasonable place. Like, maybe I gotta get to Castle Town and grab it or something. With Deku sticks taken into account, it's like, okay, great, I just gotta keep buying swords that are gonna keep breaking on me. But I'm gonna leave open forest on, and we're gonna just cross that bridge when we get to it. Now, the rest of these open world things I'm going to turn off. This one opens the gate to Kakariko Village, so that you can just go straight to Death Mountain. I don't want that. I either need the ladder or I need the bombs and go through the Lost Woods. I think closing parts of the world off this way will allow me to focus my search a little more. And that's probably a good thing. Plus, just the more things in there that I just find a random thing and go, oh my god, this has incredible repercussions for this world. This means something. This is important. That's fun. That's what I want. Here we have the Door of Time. This basically allows you to just go to the past. Right from the beginning of the future, I'm sorry. Right from the beginning of the game, you can go become Adult Link. As soon as you want, you get the Master Sword, probably. I don't know if they actually give you the Master Sword when you pull the Master Sword. I imagine it would. With this off, I now need one of the ocarinas. It does not force you to use the Ocarina of Time. Either one works. And you need the Song of Time in order to open the door. I want to say that getting the Ocarina teaches you the Song of Time in the main game, and that's why you need the Ocarina of Time. But I do seem to recall somebody figuring out that if you have that song and only the Fairy Ocarina, it still works. You just never would in the vanilla game normally without glitches. Open Zora's Fountain. King Zora has his butt to the side at the beginning of the game, so you can go to was it Jabu Jabu, and you don't need the ladder to get in, but again, I think it's more fun this way. Gerudo Fortress, you can set it to where you can, rescue one carpenter, only the bottom left carpenter must be rescued. So you don't have to rescue all the carpenters. This is basically if you're not very good at this part, or if you've done it enough times to where you don't care and don't want to do it again, that's fair enough. You can also start with a Gerudo card so you don't have to rescue any of the carpenters. If I get to the point where I have to do this part and I don't have a lot of hearts, that could be a problem. But I'm going to go ahead and leave this on default behavior. I'm going to rescue everybody. Rainbow Bridge requirement. This is the bridge to get over to Ganon's Tower at the end of the game. Default is set to all medallions. That means you have to find all 6 of the medallions in the game. I don't know if those are randomly distributed or if you still... I think you still only get those from beating bosses, but they're going to be randomly distributed. I think they can also be in the child dungeons as well, most likely. You can set it to... This is new. Originally, it was just either always open, which means that as soon as you get there, the Rainbow Bridge is just there, or all medallions. So you would need 6 medallions. And I think the vanilla requirements, which is just the Spirit and Shadow medallions and light arrows, that's a weird thing that I didn't know about. But they recently added where you can also make it where you only need the 3 spiritual stones from the originally from the child dungeons, or you need every medallion and spiritual stone, or, and this is for madmen, 100 gold Skulltula tokens, every single one in the game. Now, I'd like to note here that I have 100% of this in the past, but I used the hell out of a gold Skulltula guide to do it. I don't think I could ever do that on my own. Random number of Ganon's trials. These are the 6 trials that you face within Ganon's Tower, and it unlocks the door going up to Ganon to like the central tower. I don't see any reason to mess with this. You know, I'll do the 6 trials. That's fine. Now, if this was like Majora's Mask, and I couldn't like fail it a lot, like, you know, I have like a time limit, and then it'll reset the dungeon, then I might turn it down. World, logic rules, glitchless. This is the way we're definitely going to be playing. I cannot be expected to know glitches and things. You have no logic. All locations are considered available, may not be beatable. This basically expects you to use glitches and things to get through the game, but I am not going to do that. You have all locations reachable. That is definitely going to be on. Basically, this has 2 options. If this option is off, the randomizer will only ensure that you can collect the most important items that will get you through the game. The ones that, without glitches, are still required to get you to the end. But everything else, heart pieces and whatnot, are not guaranteed. You might be able to get like 4 heart pieces and a container, and then that's all you're getting for the rest of the game. With this on, it ensures that I can get every item, with the exception of certain keys. If you notice that note down at the bottom, some rooms that require a key to enter, but then hold a single item within that room, that item can be replaced with the key that opens the door to that room. Now, that's not really a problem. It renders the room moot. If you got in there, the only thing you'd get is the key to get in there. But I won't know that. So there might be a door that I can't unlock that drives me mad for the rest of the game, not knowing that the key is inside. Bomb chews are considered in logic. I've never been too certain about this one. I think what this means is that the game considers bomb chews as proper bombs. So if you pick up a bomb chew item, then you just have access to bomb chews. You can buy bomb chew refills. I don't think you even need the bomb bag in order to have them, and it considers that to be like a replacement. So if you have those, then it says you can get into bombable areas. I think if this isn't in logic, then, bomb chews are just random items that you can find out there, but it doesn't consider them in place of bombs. It would still expect you to have the bombs in order to get into bombable places. I know that there are a few things out there in the world that I would really like to have the bomb chews for, and it would be nice to buy the replacements, but I think I would lose my mind if I have to line everything up and time it right with bomb chews instead of just throwing bombs at shit. Still, being able to buy bomb chew refills would be nice. It seems like that's just going to be too much of a pain in the ass in the long run. So I'm just going to hope I find some good ones when I want them, and that I don't waste them. Dungeons have one major item. I don't think this is necessary. Basically, every dungeon in the main game has a single big important dungeon item, with the exception, as this says, of the Spirit Temple, which has 2 items, 2 important items. I don't really care about that. I think I just find important items when I find them. We'll just see where they're at. Dungeons could just be full of garbage and a complete waste of my time. Who knows? I could run into a dungeon that has only important items. Every item I need could be right in Dodongo's cavern. Who knows? Master Quest dungeons. Now this is funny to me. In Discord last night, I was trying to convince a friend of mine that he should check out the Ocarina of Time randomizer. I know that he doesn't want to be any part of any internet shenanigans, so I think he's okay with his first name being said, but just in case, we'll just call him Friendo. Now, Friendo loves Zelda, and he especially loves Ocarina of Time. He can run it quickly in his head, he knows the whole thing. I told him yesterday that the 4.0 version of this dropped, and he said, kind of cynical and cheeky, have they come out with a randomizer that lets you randomly replace the dungeons with Master Quest dungeons yet? And I just took a picture of this and sent it to him, and he just wrote back, well, I'm impressed. I love it. You can replace dungeons in the game with Master Quest dungeons, but you cannot specify which ones, which is a bit of a bummer to me, because there are ones that I would like to do. Deku Tree wasn't so bad, and the Shadow Temple I found to be pretty fun. Friendo and I played through Master Quest about a year ago. Or no, that was Majora's Mask. It was probably like a year and a half to 2 years ago now. Oh my god, where did time go? The Master Quest dungeons, I don't know if you know, suck. They don't have that feel of Nintendo quality. It doesn't seem like they just made more challenging dungeons or scrambled them up to mess with the player. They come across more like the equivalent of a Mario World ROM hack. That sort of like, we just gave this to some people and said make it harder, and they don't really know a ton about game design, so they just hid shit in walls and made it awful. I can't even imagine trying to get gold Skulltulas in that, because I left so many behind that I never knew how to reach. And I only had to do half the dungeons. The ones I didn't do also look miserable. So I'm going to leave the Master Quest dungeons off. I could maybe deal with the Deku Tree or the Shadow Temple, maybe even the Water Temple. I remember that being not so bad. Actually, most of the ones I did were not so bad, but there was just one hitch. I think the Forest Temple, spoilers for the Forest Temple Master Quest dungeon, we were stuck for a very long time. Neither of us could figure it out, and then I think Friendo was maybe the one who walked around to the opposite side of one of the wells in the courtyard and looked down, and there was an eye switch down there just above the water line that you had to hit, but you'd only see it from the opposite side, and it was just like, are you fucking kidding me? So, anyways, no Master Quest dungeons. You might notice that this sets up to 12 when there are only really 8 main dungeons in the game, 3 as a child and 5 as an adult, and you get the 6th medallion from Rauru just for becoming an adult. I believe the other 4 would be the well, Ganon's Tower, the Ice Cave, and probably the Gerudo training ground. That's my best guess. I remember most of those were changed up. I don't remember if Ganon's Tower was changed up. So, now we have our shuffle options. We can shuffle the Kokiri sword into the pool. This will require extensive use of sticks until the sword is found. That's pairing up with the forest, and that is a thing that I really don't want. I don't know if turning this off means that I can still find it in the forest. I really do want to have to find that sword, but I also don't want to have to use sticks. I might wind up having to make a new seed, honestly, at some point along the way, or cutting out a ton of grinding in the pot room. Shuffle the ocarinas into the pool. I can find those anywhere. Oh god, please don't make the Kokiri sword like I'm asking the 3 goddesses, what made Hyrule? Please don't make the Kokiri sword something I have to find as an adult. Please make it convenient. That's all I ask. Actually, maybe finding it as an adult would be better. Who knows? Yeah, ocarinas are definitely going to be in the pool. The weird egg that you get from Malon at the beginning of the game will be shuffled in the pool. Now, you have to get the weird egg to talk to Zelda. It also starts the trading quest. You have to talk to... Well, wait. Isn't this? In turn, unlocks rewards from Impa, Saria, Malon, Talon, as well as the Happy Mask side quest. If Open Kakariko Gate is disabled, the weird egg will also be required for Zelda's letter. Okay, so what that means is that the weird egg can be anywhere, and I'm going to then find all the other trading game items in their usual places, rather than scattered out around the world in with all the other garbage. And that includes the letter, which I don't think should be necessary. I think the letter should just be wherever the letter is, and I could get something else from Zelda. And just whenever I open that gate, then start the mask quest. I think that's the way it should be. But whatever. It would be nice to just random. Actually, yeah. Hmm. 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 I imagine then that the game is going to make me get the letter from Zelda either way. And I wanted to find the letter randomly, but it sounds like I'm just going to get that from her. And in that case, I should turn this on, and that's just going to take the place of it. So, Weird Egg is shuffled. The Gerudo card lets you get into the training grounds. That's it. Does not prevent the guards from throwing you in jail. This has no effect if the option to start with a Gerudo card is set. I'm going to randomize that. Shuffle songs in with items. Now this is a fun one. Songs will appear as musical notes that are just going to be scattered in with the other items. So I could open a chest and find a musical note inside, and then that could give me the song of the Sun Song, which is going to be very interesting to me. In the Scrub Shuffle, what this does is there are various Deku Scrubs in the game, the big lanky ones that will sell you junk. Typically, you will find these in dungeons where they will be selling you like various items that you might need, like bombs and sticks and things. This gives you some options off. Only the 3 scrubs that give the one-time items in the vanilla game, which are a piece of heart, a Deku Nut capacity upgrade, and a Deku Stick capacity upgrade, will have random items instead from the overall pool. I assume then that capacity upgrades can be shuffled out into the world. I don't know what those will look like, but they must be there. Affordable. Every scrub has a chance of having an important item, but they all cost only 10 rupees. Which is fair, you know? You gotta check all those spots, but you don't need to break the bank. Now, with the Deku sticks, I still might be breaking the bank. And we're looking at some grinding at this point. And that's why we're not going to go for either of the other ones. Expensive, every scrub has their vanilla prices. This means that you could, well, as it says, this will require spending over 1,000 rupees on scrubs. And if I get deep into a dungeon and run into a Deku scrub that I can't afford to purchase its item, that sucks. I'm going to leave it on 10 rupees, and then random prices is anywhere from 0 to 99 rupees for each scrub. And as it warns, this will on average be very, very expensive overall. You are very likely to be spending more than you would on expensive. So I'm going to leave this on affordable. And let's look at some of these other options here. Shop Sanity. This will randomize a certain number of shop contents. Basically, as it explains here, there are some less important items in shops, mostly refills and things like that, I would imagine, that can be randomly replaced with items from the overall item pool. And these will take up the left slots in each store, and you can set these to be a certain number or a random number for each shop. So any given shop might have no like items from the pool, or it could have up to 4. So I'm just gonna do that, because why not? More things I have to spend money on. Token Sanity. Now here's a big one. Because I wasn't originally going to do this, but I was thinking about it yesterday. So gold Skulltulas can be found all over the place. They can be found in dungeons, in trees. There are places on the overworld where you can only find them at night. You can set this to dungeons only so that only the ones found in dungeons... Okay, let me explain. Token Sanity will replace Gold Skulltula tokens with just the overall item pool, and thus shuffle those tokens out into the world at large. That means that where I may have before gotten like the hook shot, I might just get a Gold Skulltula token, which would be kind of disappointing, really. But this also means that if I kill a Gold Skulltula, I might get the hookshot. Hopefully not, because I'll probably need the hookshot to get the Gold Skulltula tokens. You know what I mean, or whatever they would be. I'm still kind of debating this one in my head. Now, you can set it to dungeons only so that only the ones in dungeons are required. I feel like the ones on the overworld are the ones that I'm more likely to find, because I actually remember where some of those are. However, the ones in the dungeons, since dungeons are more cramped spaces, you're more likely to hear the Skulltulas. So, I think there's a bit of a fair trade-off, but it does make it less likely that I will find all the items, as I don't remember where Skulltulas are as well as I remember chests. However, they are all somewhere up there, you know. I have found them all before, and found in quotation marks, but I have collected them all, defeated all the Skulltulas. I definitely don't want to put every token into the pool, but I am going to turn on Dungeons Only. This is probably a terrible idea, and I'm already regretting it. Combine this with like Open Forest and the Kokiri Sword, this could be a terrible playthrough. There is a fairly good chance that I might just give up on this and start a new seed at some point. I don't know if I have it in me to power through this whole thing. Dungeon items. Now, this is going to make it even worse. I hope you don't value your time, because I clearly don't. Maps and compasses, I mean, we're already 30 minutes into this. Maps and compasses, dungeon only. Now, maps and compasses, what this does is you can remove maps and compasses from the game altogether. This will add some money and refill packs, like just arrows and bombs and stuff, into the overall item pool to get shuffled in with everything else. You can start with the maps and compasses. That does the same thing, only you actually have the maps and compasses at all times. So if you go into any dungeon, you know where you're at and where the items are. That will be very convenient. We're not going to do that. Dungeon. Maps and compasses can only appear in their respective dungeon. They will be randomized within the dungeons, but they will be in those dungeons. Anywhere. Maps and compasses can appear anywhere in the world. That is what we're going to do, because I think it'll be a lot of fun to be out at the beach or whatever and find, or not, I guess that's not really a beach, out at the lake and find the map to the Shadow Temple. Or it could be the biggest pain in the ass in the world, especially with the token sanity shuffled on. So we are going to anywhere, and we're going to do the same thing for these. This is why. Small keys can be removed entirely from the game. It will be the same thing as maps, where they'll shuffle in some, like, just nothing items in there, you know, rupees and stuff. This means that any door that would require a small key is simply unlocked by default. We're not going to do that. Dungeon. Small keys are randomized within their own dungeon. In this case, as it says, if the Fire Temple is not randomized to being a Master Quest dungeon, then the door to the boss key chest will already be unlocked. I assume that is to prevent any kind of accidents from occurring with the keys. Anywhere. Small keys can appear anywhere in the world. They're just shuffled into the world at large, into the overall pool. It's a difficult mode since it is more likely to need to enter a dungeon multiple times. This thing suggests trying different combinations out, such as setting these keys to dungeon only, but boss keys to anywhere. Fuck that. We're going to set both of these to anywhere, and boss keys work the same way. They can be removed entirely with the boss doors unlocked. They can be in the dungeon. They can be anywhere in the world. Now, the reason I'm playing this, the reason that I even knew it was a thing, was because I watched Kraken put up a video from a stream he did where he played this. I watched maybe about an hour's worth. enough for him to beat the Deku tree. And slight spoiler for his video, I think it's like Mido's house, or it's somewhere within the Kokiri forest. He opens a chest and gets the boss key to Ganon's tower, and that's fantastic. I want that. So we'll see how this goes. Maps and compasses give information. If this is on, then the Temple of Time altar will no longer provide any information. I don't know what kind of information the Temple of Time altar would have provided, but basically if this is on, the map and compass will tell you if a dungeon is vanilla or master quest, which doesn't matter to me, and if there's a medallion or only a spiritual stone within, which I don't know. I feel like I'm still going to want to beat every boss, because they also normally drop a heart container, which could be anything else. So that also doesn't matter to me. So I don't need that to be on. So if it's not on, then that dungeon information is not available anywhere in the game. You just kind of got to figure it out for yourself. That's fine. Remove Ganon's boss door lock. This means that I don't need a boss key in order to get in. I don't know why I would want that, because that's going to be a monumental occasion when I find that thing. Hopefully it's also in Kokiri's forest. Alright, we're 36 minutes in, and that is the second page done. Luckily it gets a lot easier from here, except for maybe the other tab. Lens and adult trading sequence, the lens of truth. This is some logic for that. I'm not really sure why this is on this page. I feel like they just ran out of room on the last one. Basically what this means is that if it's required, then every single invisible thing, any wall that you can pass through, anything that you would need the lens of truth to see, the game expects you to have the lens of truth before getting what's behind it. So anything that you would need to get to wherever the lens of truth is being held cannot be behind invisible junk. With the exception, as it says, of the first wall in the bottom of the well, since that is required in vanilla. You can also set it to Wasteland, where the only thing that it expects is for you to have it to follow the ghost guide across the wasteland, and there's an extra one here that it doesn't mention that I think was just added in this version, which is, or maybe it wasn't, I don't know, which is only the chest minigame requires it. And you really do want it for the chest minigame. I remember trying to do that without it, and then whew. Then you have the trade sequence. So what this is you can set the earliest and the latest item that you will find out in the wild for the trade sequence as an adult. Now, you can set these down to being the same item. That means that you will definitely find that item somewhere out there. I don't think that would be weird if I said it like that. Basically what this is whatever item you get, you will then just follow the trade sequence normally from there. So if I were to get, say, the poacher's saw, then I'd have to go trade it for the broken sword, and so on. It's a good thing I looked at that, because I completely forgot that that's the trade. Actually, I don't remember most of this. That's going to be a problem. But yeah, it's just where you're going to start. So that's just completely random. This is some shit. I'm not going to look down the list so much, but basically this is a list of every location in the game where an item could be, all the way down to gossip stones? Do gossip stones give you items? Guys, if gossip stones give you items, I don't even know how. That could become a problem. I thought I would come down here and just show you here. Yeah, you have gold skull tokens and things. You can exclude any location in the game that you think is going to be a pain in the ass. And over here, you have various tricks that you can do to get through the game. These are for people who know what they're doing. Man on roof without hookshot doesn't seem like it would be so bad. You gotta like do a backflip over the thing. It used to give you a little explanation because these were checkboxes. You basically climb up onto the tower, you backflip over the rail and down onto the roof. I'm gonna add that one in because it's the only one that I really know about. Oh, side hopping. Right. I'll try and figure that one out. Hopefully that doesn't come back to bite me, because I've never done this before. I just, I'm reading side hopping off the watchtower. That sounds like something I could do, right? This is going to be some horrifying glitch that I'm going to wish I never did to myself. Okay, we have speed ups. This is a pretty simple one to go through. Skip the tower escape sequence, so I don't have to do that between fighting Ganondorf and fighting Ganon. I do recall that being kind of annoying, and I don't really want to do it. It is part of the game, and I have the trials on. I'm still kind of debating this one. Skip child stealth. I don't mind that. I have no problem with that. I like a good stealth game. Skip Epona race. You don't have to race in Ingo. Most said Inigo. In order to get Epona, you can just, as soon as you get Epona's song, you have Epona. Which does sound like a pretty good thing, if I'm being perfectly honest. I'm going to turn that off, though. I don't mind doing the race. Tower escape sequence. I really don't want to do it. I really just have no interest in it. I remember it not being very fun. You know what? I might leave that on. I might come back and change that. I don't know. Fast chess cutscenes, I'm going to leave that off because I like the suspense that it builds, especially in this version where I have no idea what's going to be in anything. I think that's going to be a lot of fun. I'm not Aaron Hansen. I can take a slow chess cutscene. Nighttime Skulltulas expect you to have the sun song so that you don't have to wait until night to collect them. Since I only have the gold Skulltulas in the dungeons set to be shuffled out into the world, this isn't too big of a deal. It's not like they're... If I were going to have required items on every Skulltula out there, this would be a problem. But the way I have it set now, I don't think it's going to bother me too much. I'm just going to leave that as is. Free Scarecrow song is just as soon as you pull out the Ocarina, you can play a song. Oh, okay. Just pulling out the Ocarina near a spot where you can make Pierre appear will just make him appear. You don't have to play a song. That's what that is. That's not a bad thing, but I'm going to leave that turned off. Start with fast travel. It starts you with the Prelude of Light, Serenade of Water, and Farore's Wind, so that you can get out of locations and to other locations pretty quickly. I am not going to do that. Start with maximum rupees. You start the game with 99 rupees. That way you don't have to run around in the fields getting rupees to buy your shield or whatever. Not going to do that. Start with the biggest wallet in the game. Not going to do that. Start with the Deku equipment. You start with 10 Deku sticks and 20 nuts. You additionally start the game with a Deku shield equipped, unless you're playing on the shop's sanity setting. Debating that one. I just don't want to have to buy Deku sticks and stuff. Again, ideally I would like to start this game with just nothing. Really, I don't want to have to use Deku sticks. I want to run around with nothing and try and find the sword. But since the game just, if I don't have the sword, the game just expects me to have sticks instead. Maybe I'll turn that sword back on. I don't know. It's not a lot of fun when the only difference is I've still got a sword. I just have to keep buying it. That's kind of a bummer. That's kind of a huge bummer. Shit. At least this will still be randomized, right? Like, it's going to be somewhere in the forest, but I'm not going to know where. I am really bummed out about that, though. I would like to have it in the future, in future versions of this. It would be nice if I could just wander around. and not be expected to fight things and try to find the sword. The Deku sticks really do kind of shit that dream up a little bit. So, okay, now I don't need to start with Deku equipment. That's really unnecessary. Big Poe target count. So, this is one I'm going to alter. I think it might have saved my what I set it to last time. I don't really like doing the Big Poe stuff. I don't think I'm going to have fun randomizing that or anything. Basically, what it is, if you don't know, there are 10 of these bigger versions of ghosts. The ghosts will just appear all over the place, but in just the overworld zone, Hyrule Field, there are 10 big ones. They will only appear if you're on Epona and you travel through their area going like a specific direction. And then you have to pull out your bow and shoot them, I think maybe multiple times. And then if you have a bottle, you can collect their soul, and you take it back to this guy, who's like the only, like, remaining, not even really a person, maybe a person, in Hyrule Castletown. And once you bring them back all 10, then they give you, like, a bottle, I think. That sucks. And I don't want to do it. I really don't want to do it at all. But I think I can be expected to do 2 of them. Now, in order to do that, I need a bottle, I need the bow, and I need Epona and Epona's song. Well, I guess you need the song to get Epona. So I need all that, and then I still have to actually find and collect 2 of these. And I think that's pretty reasonable. I can be bothered to do that, but I think the more I put on here, just the less fun this game is going to be. So I'm going to get 2 of them, I'm going to take them back to the guy, and then I will get a random item, and then I can ignore Big Poes from then on out. I think that's fair. Randomize Ocarina song notes. I don't intend to do this. I'm going to keep the songs that I know and remember. Chest size matches contents. Ignoring the obvious joke. Chests will be large if they contain a major item and small if they don't. So if, like, if you normally have like a small chest in a place, but they put a big cool item there instead, I think it will then be a bigger chest in that location. I don't need that. It's going to be fun not knowing what any chest contains ahead of time, so I'm going to leave that one off. Go away. Clearer hints. So Gossip Stones will give me hints as to where I believe the items that I need are. Could be wrong about that. This will give me very clear hints that will probably just tell me exactly where the item is at. I'm going to turn that off. However, Gossip Stone's hints. You can set this to needing an item. You can either need the Mask of Truth, which is what I guess you would need in the vanilla game or whatever that you would normally need, but then you have to find that the chicken and go through the Zelda thing and then run around the world just doing the whole trading quest, and then you can get the Mask of Truth and bring it over here and do that. The Mask of Truth also has the alternate use of getting something from the Deku Scrubs under the forest. The Gossip Stone will be, or sorry, not the Gossip Stone, where am I? Stone of Agony. Stone of Agony is an item that is normally needed to find all the holes in the ground, which I'm going to need because I don't remember where they're all at. I know if I make it rain, then I can find those that way. Yeah, I don't remember where all the holes are. So having the Stone of Agony around to, like, give me a hint is nice. Having it pull double duty as giving me the hints is even nicer. Originally, I was either going to do the Gossip Stone or the Mask of Truth. I wasn't really sure. I was thinking Mask of Truth, because the Gossip Stone is just more useful in general. The Mask of Truth, not so much. Doing that whole trading quest and just getting one item out of it is kind of sucks, but doing the whole quest and then being able to use the Gossip Stones, that's really cool. But since I have that Skulltula token sanity, turned on to an extent, I think I'm very likely to run into some problems. Although I did turn off the sword being anywhere, which is nice. But it's very likely that I could run into some problems here, and I don't want to just open up the log file. So I'm going to make these free, but I'm going to use them as little as possible, preferably not at all. But I do want that to be open in case I need it. And there's another thing that we are about to get to after this next one that is also going to be a reason for that. Hint distribution is balanced. Useless, you can set it to useless. You will only get junk hints. I don't know what this means. I guess it's telling you where junk objects are. Strong distribution has some duplicate hints and no junk hints. I assume that just, what do we get? Oh, useless has nothing but junk hints. Balanced. Balanced is probably what I want. Strong has some duplicate hints and no junk hints. Very strong has only very useful hints. Tournament is similar to strong but with no variation in hint type. I don't know what that is. I'm just going to leave it on balanced and see what happens. I assume it will give me some junk hints. It will give me some strong hints. Whatever. Here's the big one. Here's the big one. This will shuffle almost all of the text in the game, with the exception of two things. Text telling me about the keys that I pick up will not be randomized because it will tell me like what dungeon each key I pick up goes to. I don't know if it will do the same for the dungeon map and compass. It would be really nice if it does. I would prefer not to have to go to every dungeon and try and fit, like, because you get that moment of, oh, I got the map that goes to this dungeon, that's really cool, but getting just a random map and going, well, I have no idea what I'm going to do with this, kind of sucks a little bit more. But it's also, okay, the hints, here we go, my brain turned back on. The hints from the Gossip Stones will not be shuffled. And the randomized items that from the shop randomizer that I clicked earlier, that text will also not be randomized so that you know how much it costs. Here's the thing. The text for the other items in the shop will be randomized, and this is a thing I made a request for on the Discord, was that could you add an option so that that text will also not be randomized? To which somebody very condescendingly replied that you're expected to have vanilla knowledge of the game. I can understand the glitches, I can understand the speed running, I can understand remembering where items are. Remembering the prices for every item in the shop? But yeah, I don't think they're gonna add that option in. Anyways, shuffled except hints and keys. Ice traps. This was just added in this version. Now, when I say this version, I was using the 3.0 web generator before. I did notice that a few things that got added in the 4.0, Crichton was using before this dropped. Either he got an early access to it for like advertising, or I think there were various versions in the middle that added some little things. But yeah, when I say added to this version, I just mean sometime after 3.0 this got added. Ice traps. So some chests in the game you open and you will just freeze on contact. Like you open the chest and you freeze into just a pile of ice, and then break out. You take some damage, you break out, and you move on with your life. These are still shuffled in, but just to the chests, I guess. You can have it off, no ice traps in the game, normal. The ice traps that were normally in the game are shuffled around into the other chests. Extra ice traps. Hey, come back. Extra ice traps. You get extra ice traps. If anything else, any of these other options would add like just random pickups, arrows and things, that can be replaced with more ice traps randomly. Ice trap mayhem. Every one of those extra pickups is replaced by an Ice Trap. Ice Trap Onslaught. All junk items will be replaced by Ice Traps, even those that are in the base pool. So Mayhem is just the extra ones that you've added. I don't know if I've added any junk items to this. That would be like from shuffling the maps and stuff out of the game, or starting the game with them, you know. That would add some extra things that would then become Ice Traps. And there's various levels of that. I'm just going to do it normal. I might hit an Ice Trap now and then. We'll see. Item pool. You have Plentiful. You can get extra major items. You can have Balanced. It's just everything that was in the game is now shuffled around. Scarce. Some, like, heart pieces and things might be taken out of the game. I assume that will add junk items. So this will be a fun one to minimal. Most excess items are removed, and just the things that you really need to get through are included. Imagine putting this on minimal and then putting this on Ice Trap Onslaught, and just like every chest you open just winds up being ice. That's insane. I'm going to leave this on balance. Damage multiplier, normal. This is going to stay there. You can have it on half. You'll take less damage. I think if I was going to put this on where I'm expected to have Deku sticks, I might turn this down to half. Normal is normal damage, double, quadruple, one hit, and you die. I think Friendo would really like one hit and you die. I think he'd have fun with that. I know he's done his 3 heart runs. Starting time of day. This one confuses me, and I don't know exactly what it does. It says change up Link's sleep routine. Daytime officially starts at 6:30, nighttime at 6 p.m. Default is 10 in the morning. The alternatives are multiples of 3 hours. That doesn't tell me anything. In fact, everything else that this says just makes it more confusing. Now, the only good assumption I've got is that when you turn on the game, I think it starts you at 10 in the morning. I think that's what they're saying. And this will randomly start you at a random time of day. But I could be completely wrong about that. I have no idea. I really have no idea. I'm just not going to mess with it. If I don't know what it does, I shouldn't mess with it. General default targeting option, hold. I am going to put this to switch, which I think was the old school version. You know, you hit the Z button once and you target, you hit it again and you untarget. I could be wrong about that. I've only played these games a lot, so it's only natural that I can't recall. I'm going to be playing this with a PS3 controller, and I don't want to have to hold down R2, L2, whatever. The shoulder buttons on that, not my favorite. 360 controller, I can hold down the trigger all day. And I do have a 360 controller here, and I could be using that, but I don't want to, because I don't like the bumpers on the 360 controller. Look, this is a whole thing. We're not going to get into this today. It'll happen eventually. But anyways, because of the PS3 controller, switch. There we go. That's all you need to know. Display D-pad HUD. This is important. I'm going to turn this on because this does a very specific new thing. This is one of those things that Kraken had in his, but this was just added between 3 and 4. The D-pad has extra things it can do now. Left and right will equip iron boots and hover boots. I might have the directions flipped. And either up or down equips the Ocarina, and I don't know if the other direction also does something. This gives a use to the D-pad since it's more convenient than it was on the N64, so that's nice. And the rest of this is just cosmetic stuff. And I'm going to set every single one to random choice. Now, what this is the tunics can be different colors. Kokiri tunic. Kokiri tunic, Goron tunic, Zora tunic. Normally green, red, and blue. You can set them to different choices. Now, there's random choice, which will select any of these pre-selected items here. There's completely random, which will select any color from the spectrum. And there's custom color, where you can select any color from the spectrum. I think it would be nice to have an additional option where, like, if it's the Goron tunic, it can select from just any type of red, as long as it's red, so that, but I mean, it's not like it's important. I'm going to set them all to random choice and make it confusing. Navi colors. So when she's idle, she's normally just blue, and then she has different colors as she's targeting people. Targeting enemies, targeting NPCs, targeting props. I'm going to set all of these to random choice. None of these are being set to completely random. Yeah, just random choice. They've picked out some good colors, I'm sure. Sword trail duration. This is a new one. As I recall, when you swing your sword, there's like a brief sword trail that appears to make it look cooler. I looked at these last night. The options in here, I haven't seen what this will look like. And I like these choices here because there is default, long, very long, and lightsaber. I don't know what I want. I'm going to put on very long, though, and I'm going to random choice the inner and outer color of it, and we'll just see what happens with that. This could get annoying. Sound effects. These are like cosmetics, but you can hear them. General background music is going to be completely random. I had some good choices from that in my original seed, which hopefully I did show off at the beginning. It's especially depressing to me to have to make a new seed, honestly, because having the Song of Storms, the windmill theme, as the general Kokiri Forest theme was so nice. It added just a brand new mood and feeling to the whole thing. It gave it this like kind of weird forest fairy people kind of vibe, where before it was just like happy-go-lucky forest people. It was great. And that's what I like about the randomized music, is because it gives everywhere just a new mood. It really changes the ambiance of a location when you start the game, and Link's house, like, just as soon as the game begins, you're in Link's house, and it's just this sinister, dark dungeon music. And oh man, it's basically Dark Souls. Low HP. The default is that annoying beep. Now, I could put this on completely random. They did add this since the 3.0 release, random ear safe, which will give you one of the more pleasant sounds when you're low on health. So it's not going to be the shattering pot or the re-dead scream, wherever that's at. I was just going to put it on soft beep. I'll put it on random ear safe and then try to never be low on HP. Horse sounds. See, this was the one, when I saw what was available here on the 3.0 generator, after seeing Kriken's video, I genuinely thought that, like, because he didn't actually create the seed himself, he didn't randomize it. It was one of his friends, like maybe Tomato. It seemed had gotten the seed for him so that Kriken wouldn't know what was going to happen. And I assumed that that person had also modded the ROM a little bit to change some of these sounds, but no, it was just stuff that I didn't personally have access to yet. So when the horse neighs, when Epona neighs, can be a completely random sound. When nightfall hits, normally it's a wolf howling. It's going to be random. Hover boots? I mean, the first weird thing is that they have a nightfall sound, but they don't have the sound of the chicken in the morning, the rooster crowing, randomized. But hover boots? That's very odd. I'm also noticing that some of these have very different... I guess it's the sound of me walking in them while they're on. Random choice or random ear safe. I guess I'm gonna put this on. What is completely random versus random choice? What does this tell me? Random choice, choose a random sound from this list. But what is... First off, I, mm, mm, I don't know what completely random's gonna... I mean, I assume, like when you look at this, it gives you like all of these. I assume that completely random will pick from that, or it could just be any sound effect in the game. I don't know. I don't want to make that... I don't want to be the guinea pig here for this one. That could be like door opens and closes sound effect every time I take a step in the hover boots. That would be just unacceptable. The ocarina, instead of sounding like an ocarina, could be any of these. And I have a couple I'm hoping for, like Malin singing that like N64. Ooh, I won't torture you with that. Yeah, this could be really interesting. Random choice. Let's hope that it doesn't just wind up sounding like the ocarina. Menu cursor can also have random sounds. This is another one. Kraken got the weep. I'm just going to put these on random choice. Menu selection. NPC. Now, this is one that I wasn't sure what I wanted to do. So this seems to be when she looks at an enemy. This is out on the overworld, blah, blah, blah. I'm just going to put these on, sorry, not completely random, just random choice. I'm not going to make it ear safe. I think this will be fine. I'm going to cut something real quick. I want to do a quick look. And we're back. Sorry about that. I had to quickly check the Discord. I wanted to make sure because I remembered this dropped yesterday, the 4.0, and apparently because of the server and everybody trying to generate their ROMs right away, I hadn't thought about it until just now, but it was causing some ROMs to be generated, some seeds to be generated that were not completable. It was breaking the generation process. But I just checked Discord and they've done the upgrade, so it should be good to go. Race seed, you can like 2 people create the same seed, I guess, and they have to race through it. That's good for streams and competitions and things. I'm not going to do that. If I hit generate seed, yeah, that should be good. Now we wait as they grind up the seed. So here's our completed seed. This is the specific, if you want to play the exact same game that I am playing, that's what you want to put in. If you want to put the settings into the system and generate a new seed, which will give you this same setup, but just it will randomize the items. Different from how I'm playing, then there you go, there's that. This is in a game. In the game itself, it will show you these icons at the top, oh my god, of the main menu. And this is, I guess, for streams, so that, you know, everybody can see you're playing what you say you're playing. I will put these in the description of each video. In fact, I'm going to write these down. Let's just grab the whole thing. Copy, notepad. Bleh. Spoiler log, not going to click on that. From this point, you can re-randomize these things If any of this sucks, so what I can do is download the unmodified patch file. That's important. If you're going to do this, I recommend doing that, because any of these cosmetic, including these two options here, any cosmetic options and sound effects that you don't like, you can slap that unmodified patch file back into this and change those and get it back. The items will all still be in the same place. The resultant ROM will be the same name. The only difference will be these sound effects, cosmetics, and these options if you change them. It's really nice if you get some sounds that you don't like. So all we got left to do here is, okay, let's patch this bitch. Override cosmetics. Overrides the generated cosmetics with your personal settings. I haven't changed any settings, so whatever, let's roll.
Whoa.